welcome to the show. Today, once again, we'll be discussing about the Middle East situation. As you know, that despite ceasefire, the Israelis are continuously targeting and bombing the Lebanese areas. And in fact, as the reports are coming, that more than 20% of the land they have already occupied, and there's a displacement. Almost 1 million people were forced to displace and leave their homes, and still they could not come back. On the other side, we have seen that Iran American talks are still underway, they are in progress. And but unfortunately, as the American president has been making certain claims on his X account that Iran and the Americans are very close for a deal, but still the world is waiting for that. I have a very prominent guest with me once again, His Excellency General Retired Khalid Naeem Lohdi, former Defense Secretary. Thank you
Assalamu
very much, sir. Walaikum assalam for joining. Kindly, if you first, throw some kind of light and give your view about the Israeli approach towards the entire situation which is going on in Middle East.
Thank you very much. About Israel, I think one can only say that if there's one country which has actually benefited from this war so far, uh, although even after having a lot of destruction on themselves also, which is not very clear now, but which will become clear in future, because you must have noticed that even from America, we are getting reports that the casualties reported by America are not correct, and there's a much higher casualty rate which they have suffered. So similarly, they must have suffered a lot inside Lebanon also. So they are actually, if we see, there is no congruence in whatever everybody is saying. I mean, on one hand, there's a truce agreement between Lebanon and Israel, which has been brokered in America. On the other hand, there is no let up as far as the bombing is concerned, as far as fighting is concerned. So Iran is saying that unless the war in Lebanon also stops, there can be no ceasefire. And the Hezbollah is saying that unless Israel leaves Lebanon, the occupied area, there can be no ceasefire. So there's a sort of stalemate. All sides are giving very conflicting statements, and the whole world is at awe. They are just waiting. Actually, the world is more interested in the opening of Hormuz, and Iran knows that they have a leverage as far as Hormuz is concerned, and they are not also letting it up. But of course, Iranians have said that if America lifts the blockade on the Iranian coastlines, so they will open the Hormuz. So actually, nobody is taking any initiative, and nobody is actually listening to each other. So I do not know what to say. My own assessment is that yes, both sides, Americans and Iranians, they have no incentive of carrying on with the war, because it is going to fetch nothing, more or less whatever already has been attained. And Iran is not ready to give up. After having a lot of beating and after a lot of destruction, and still keeping them intact, they think that they have, if not won the war, at least they have not lost the war. And Iranian spiritual leader has said very openly that the combined strength of America and Israel, they have failed in this war as far as the US Iran is concerned. So it is a very difficult situation. As far as your question is concerned, if we look at Israel, they have never honored any international treaty before. They are not doing it now. They are not likely to adhere to any rules of ethics or international law or anything in future also. Iran knows this very well, and that is why this whole thing is the way it is.
Well, do you think that whatever is going on in Lebanon, since Israel could not, achieve what they wanted to achieve in a broader perspective in Iran, now they have focused more on the Hezbollah and Lebanon. In fact, with the two perspective, one, or kind of objective. One objective is to destroy the Hezbollah. Second objective is to occupy the land, maximum land as they could occupy it through whatever is going on at the moment. So, do you think that American can really ask the Israelis that stop
Not only
now?
Israel, not only Israel, but even some Jews from other countries and even some Christians from other countries, even from America, they have supported this idea of Greater Israel. That is very sad, and this war actually has an angle, a religious angle also from that point of view. So, whereas Israel will never be able to destroy Hezbollah because Lebanon is a country with still unoccupied area is quite large. But this is for sure that whatever area has been occupied by Israel, they are not going to leave it. They will not go back. They will not give up that area. So if that happens, which means that then even if there is a ceasefire, it will be a temporary ceasefire. It will be a temporary agreement, whatever happens. Even after a few days, if we see the Hormuz open and other things happening. So the big problem remains. That is the expansionist designs of Israel, their manifestation of their greater Israel. First it was a dream, now it is a reality which they are making, and all those countries which could be affected in later time frame also. I do not know why don't they understand that once they are on the greater Israel spree, why will they spare countries like Syria or Jordan or other countries also which lie between Nile and Euphrates. So one cannot say anything except that the whole world has failed to stop the intransigence attitude of Israel, to stop the aggressive attitude of Israel. So the only option left with the neighboring countries and with the world, if they really want to take care of this, I would say, rogue state, that they will have to combine their forces to stop them from this expansionist design. Otherwise, there's no other remedy.
Well, do you expect that there could be a kind of allied forces of the Arab countries to have a kind of action against the Israel?
We can't see anything happening in near future because we cannot see any unity being forged between the Arab countries, or even if we can't even see the realization in the neighboring country that it is going to spill over to their land also. It seems, unfortunately, that everybody is just waiting for their turn, and of course, there is some small indicators. There are some small indicators in countries like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia, like Oman, and they are trying to come together. And there are Pakistan. They are trying to help get the help from Pakistan and Turkey and all that. So the only closest alliance ever that can be forged against such designs is an agreement between Pakistan, Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Qatar. These are the only countries which, of course, they are not saying it so openly as I am talking to you, because they do talk of defense agreement, but they never talk defense agreement against Israel. They have never said that. But I do not know that what else this defense agreement is for. Naturally, but as long as Israel and other Israeli allies, they succeed in keeping these countries apart on various issues, as we see that UAE has fallen apart, and Arab countries and Iran, they are not at very good terms. So unless the Arab countries, the non-Arab countries, Iran, Shiites, Sunniites, they all understand the greater design, probably they will not be able to stop Israel.
When we come to Donald Trump, we have been hearing a mixed kind of statements. One day he say one thing, and another day he say another thing. Recently, he has said that he is ready to have an kind of if there is a possibility or if there is a kind of a situation or environment crops up to meet with the spiritual leader, um, Mushtaba Khamenei, he'll be ready to do that. So do you think that Jan, I mean, this Donald Trump is, doing all that to get the attraction or some kind of attention on the social media? That's why he gives such a statement.
Basically, my assessment was always and still is on the line that Donald Trump was gaining time for Israel to attain their objectives. They have objectives in Gaza. You know that now they are moving ahead, and that line of that peace line is now being extended, and they are getting deeper into Gaza. Then they were going across Latini River in Lebanon. Uh, I think they wanted to secure the area up to the river at least, so they went even beyond that. They even threatened to bomb the Lebanon's capital. So he has a lot of problems as far as Trump is concerned. His own people, American people, more than 50%, they are against this war. They want to end this war. You also know that he has been restrained as far as taking this war forward by Congress, and maybe it is endorsed by Senate also. We'll see what happens. So he's in problem. Europeans have left him. NATO is not with him, but Israel has to be satisfied, and he has to also satisfy that group of his own people, those who are waiting that there should be some outcome of this war. There should be some advantage of this war, which he's not getting. So he's in a big problem. So let us see how he tackles that. So this mindset, which is you can say unstable as far as this thing is concerned, that is reflected by statements that you are talking about. One day saying one thing and the other day saying other thing, whereas the statements coming from Iran are quite stable. For example, about Hormuz, they are saying that the day America lift the blockade, the next day we will open the Hormuz. So he's not doing that. So the Hormuz is not there. And then also Iranians are saying that if you want to ceasefire, the ceasefire should be on all fronts, including Gaza, including Lebanon. So they are quite straight and stable in their statements. But yes, there's a lot of shifty statements coming from America. I think there can be some other issue also that maybe Iran has threatened with something which you and me are not aware of, but it has been conveyed probably. That is just my assessment to their enemies. That if they again try to do something, maybe the reaction will be much more fierce and much more different. So that is why they are not, refreshing this war. So let us wait and see. My own assessment is that Hormuz will open in few days. Even the ceasefire may take place, but Israel will not leave the area occupied in Lebanon. There will be no agreement as far as enriched uranium is concerned. There will be no agreement as far as lifting of sanctions are concerned. All these things will go in a limbo for a very long time, and both sides will start preparing again. But if in the meantime Iran acquires something which can deter any future aggression, then probably the war will be stopped for all time.
Do you think that recently Iran has once again, fired some 17 drones and then ballistic missiles on the Kuwait as well as on Bahrain? Do you think this is advisable as far as this Middle East is concerned, or there is a kind of a, the confidence has been shaken between the GCC countries and the Iranians, which in fact Pakistan played a very important role in. Then they start talking with each other regularly. So, do you think that such actions could still create a problem among the Muslim countries in Middle East?
You see, the thing is that Iran, whatever Iran has done to Kuwait and Bahrain, they have done it against the American bases. They have said it very clearly. And the first action was initiated by America. So Iran, whatever Iran did was in response. So I don't think that Iran can be blamed for these attacks. America has to be blamed, and these countries have to ask America to leave their area, because it is quite logical that if somebody throws a stone on my house from your house, and even if you are my friend, I will throw a stone back on your house, and telling you that because in one of your rooms there is somebody who's throwing stone at me, so I will throw stone back. So I don't think it is. I will not blame Iran for that. This is for the Arab countries to understand that they must get rid of the bases which the Americans have made there, because those bases have failed to protect them. They are actually become a problem for them. So I would say that Iranian action cannot be blamed for this. It is the America who has to be blamed. It is those countries who have given them the basis, they have to be blamed.
How you see, because yesterday our Prime Minister was at the American embassy. Naturally, the Prime Minister spoke as well as the American charge d'affaires. Uh, the madam also spoke about our and naturally it was a very aggressive kind of speech where we have seen that after a long time the Americans were uh, giving a very positive kind of a statements uh, as far as the bilateral relation between Pakistan and Americans are concerned. How you see the relations apart from the Americans, the Donald Trump played a role stopping a war between Pakistan and India, as well as what Pakistan is doing in the Middle East between Iran and Americans.
You see, from international relations point of view, from diplomatic point of view, it is always good to have relations and strong relations with the big countries. And America is number one superpower even today. So any good understanding between Pakistan and America should be welcome. But then we must keep the history in our view. Whenever Americans wanted to use us, they show a lot of love and affection for us. And the moment that thing is over, they become very bitter. Actually, they actually throw you away like a used tissue paper. So I'm sure that our leadership understand that, and they understand that these relations are transactive in nature. It is give and take. The Americans will be with you as long as they want to. They have some advantage of having relations with you. But the real litmus test is not these, feasts in American embassy or not. The real litmus test is if they allow you to trade with Iran, for CPAC to remain peaceful, if they allow all activities which you are carrying out with China in a cordial manner. So the first test is that we have done so much for America. Pakistan must demand that we have a problem of energy and we have a problem of deepening.
Thank you very much, General Khalid Naeem Lodi, former Defense Secretary. Thank you, sir, for your precious time
Thank you.
on a very important issue. Thank you very much, sir.